He's now getting all these bots together to start harassing people from these like fake fan accounts.
Yeah, we Flossom talk.
Hi and welcome to Flossom Talk. I'm Shashti Floor, journalist, Hollywood truth teller, and your voice of reason in a town built on delusion. Happy Sunday, everyone. I hope you had a great weekend and I hope you're ready for this week. I'm sure there's going to be so much more drama. So I feel like I had to give you a little update, even though it's Sunday. I received a couple of emails from you guys with some kind of disturbing stuff about Ryan Reynolds and how it seems like he's now getting all these bots together to start harassing people from these like fake fan accounts. Also, as you know, Ryan is working so hard to rehabilitate his image. And one of the things he just did to try to pretend he's a good person is just so tone deaf. You won't believe this. And there's this new interview where a journalist kind of gets Ryan to reveal his PR scheme, and it's just making him look even worse. Kristen Bell is refusing to apologize for that Instagram post. Remember that from last week? She's not having it. Also, I just watched Leighton Meester's new TV show, I Love LA, and I'm so pleasantly surprised. This is really good. Anyways, before I get into any of the drama, I wanted to send a big thank you to Barbara Pask for creating or for painting this oil painting, this portrait of Oscar. It's so cute. Oscar loves it. And it really looks like him. So if you're interested in Barbara painting your favorite pet, you can contact her. I'll leave some details in my description, or you can just go to her website, barbarapask.com. Anyways, let's get into this craziness. There's a story here which doesn't really make any sense to me, but I thought I'll mention it anyways. It says Ryan Reynolds shares emotional update after Blake Lively's public snub. And they're referring to her not congratulating him on his birthday, which I also thought was a little strange, especially since all her siblings and her siblings' husbands were congratulating him on his birthday and Blake didn't. That again makes me believe that there's some trouble in this marriage. And as I said so many times before, they haven't been seen together for a long time. They're not out there in public supporting one another. Something that they always used to do. The story here continues to say Ryan Reynolds breaks silence after public snub from wife Blake Lively on 49th birthday. So the way he breaks his silence, according to this article, is posting on Instagram. So he's posting here a picture of himself with some people who are working on raising awareness about Parkinson's disease. And he's posting this photo bragging about how honored he was to be part of the panel discussion for raising awareness about Parkinson's disease. As you know, his dad passed away from Parkinson's and he's been very open about that. But my problem with this post, my big problem with this post is that it's marked paid partnership. That means that he got paid to post this. So if he really supported Parkinson, he's taking money from that organization, this awareness organization, to talk about it, to put his name on it. Like, what's charitable about that? Let me know what you think. Is that really charity when you have to get paid to actually promote something good? On top of that, there's only 5 comments on that post, and they're all basically from Ryan Reynolds' fan accounts. And Ryan is following all these fan accounts. I don't know how this kind of stuff works. How can you only have 5 comments and then block everything else? Do you then open the comments first and then allow 5 people that say nice things to say something, you delete everything else, and then you lock the comment section? Or can you just invite a few people to comment? My suspicion here is that because he owns those fan accounts and he has the login to all of them, he can comment on this within the first like 10 seconds and then they just lock the comment section. I don't know. If you're technical like that and you know how that works, if that's even possible, let me know. As I said, I find it very suspicious that these fan accounts are the only ones that always just comments on his stuff. I feel like, why don't you just shut off the comment section completely? Because it looks even more ridiculous when you have 5 comments on a post, especially when you have 45 or 50 million followers. Anyways, talking about fan accounts, I had a few people reach out to me that were really worried when they were being harassed by Ryan Reynolds fan accounts or bots. One of them, Breezy, thank you so much, DM'd me and said that, "Hi, I just watched your newest video and I have some tea on the Ryan Reynolds fan accounts." She's saying that after Ryan Reynolds received the Honorable Canadian Award, I left a little comment about how I disagree with it. I might have left 2 in total, and think one read that sad little man or something like that. Not my nicest moment, but I wanted my opinion as a Canadian to be heard. After that, I had a Ryan Reynolds fan page try to follow my Instagram account. I blocked them. Shortly after, 2 more sent follow requests. I felt like some weird online micro harassment. It's tiny, but maybe others have come forward to you about this. Yes, they have. I got this email from Sibyl last week. She said on Facebook, I made a comment on Ryan Reynolds' page a few months ago asking if he was ill, as he looked sick to me. Since then, I've been bombarded with fake Ryan Reynolds bots, profiles, etc. There's about 80 of these fake profiles or bots so far, but they don't stop and keep pestering me. I've attached a screenshot. So here's the screenshot of all those bot accounts from Ryan Reynolds who is trying to follow her or harassing her. So yes, is this a coincidence? I don't know. If any of you guys have had the same experience, please let me know. It's obviously an intimidation method to try and stop people from talking about it. I'm sure, if you experience something like this, you're not going to leave another negative comment on anything about Ryan Reynolds. So I don't think these are fan accounts run by fans, and obviously they don't even have a profile picture. So to me, they look completely fake. So the question is Ryan Reynolds behind this or someone else? She's also saying here that something weird is happening on Netflix as well, that Ryan Reynolds movies, they have categories of different actors, and then you get recommended their movies. Like she's saying that Dwayne Johnson's movies, they were recommended for about 2 days, the same with Mark Wahlberg, but then Ryan Reynolds movies were recommended for over 2 weeks. And she's speculating here saying, is he paying Netflix to recommend his movies more? I would not be surprised if that was the case. I feel like I get Ryan and Blake's movies and TV shows recommended all the time on Netflix. I don't know how you guys, if you had any experiences with that, but I'm sure it's not random. I don't believe anything is random anymore. The more I learn about this case and what has gone on behind the scenes here, nothing surprises me anymore. Anyways, thank you, Matteo, for sending me this interview. This is a recent interview with Ryan Reynolds that he did, of course, because he's promoting the John Candy documentary. But this interview was quite interesting. The podcaster's name is Tom Power, and he's starting the interview by asking Ryan Reynolds how he's doing.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm okay.
You're just okay?
Trying to be honest. Yeah. I'm all right.
What's going on?
Just like I'm too busy, a little bit too busy. I keep trying to sort of narrow the focus to let's do 3 things really well instead of 20 things poorly.
Yeah, I don't think Ryan Reynolds is all right. And you can tell from the way he's answering that question that he's not okay. And I don't think the reason is because he has so many projects going on. If he felt overwhelmed with all these projects, he could just not do all of them. I mean, I've never seen anyone, as I said before, promote a documentary the way he's been promoting this film. It's insane. He's a producer of this movie. And he's been on a month tour now to promote this. And it's not even widely released. So that's kind of weird to begin with. And we all know that all of these podcasters and journalists that are interviewing Ryan Reynolds right now are obviously told beforehand, don't even mention the lawsuit. Otherwise, that would be everyone's first question. And we all know that there's a big pink elephant in the room all the time. And sometimes they're trying to touch upon it. But then, he just goes on and talk about something else. And I think this opening question here is not how are you doing, but how are you really doing, Ryan? I think I know how he's really doing. Anyways, the reason why I wanted to bring up this interview is because he's saying something interesting here that I've been talking about before, how Ryan Reynolds is using this movie to clean up his own image. He wants people to identify him with John Candy, who is a kind and loving and funny man. And in this interview, the journalist actually catches that, and he's asking him at one point, Are you actually talking about yourself?
I think of guys like John as like a skin-covered antenna. They are reading the room for danger everywhere, and they're reading the room to make sure that everybody in the room feels seen and heard. Because John's probably one of the guys that wakes up in the middle of the night thinking about something he said or did or didn't say to somebody somewhere somehow, and that's a very common part of anxiety and everything. Lots of us all feel, but his is, I think, much louder. And that's a tough way to live, It's a tough, but it has gifts. Like you think asymmetrically. You start doing, you can write, you can kind of create and make stuff work that shouldn't, like, I don't know.
Are you talking about yourself here?
No, I mean, I teach what I need to learn, that's for sure.
I think that Ryan Reynolds so desperately wants to be John Candy and wants to be liked like John Candy was. And what he's saying here is that, John would probably read the room because he wanted everyone to be seen and heard, just like me. He wakes up in the middle of the night thinking that what he said to someone, if that was okay or not. And that's a common part of anxiety. And he talks about how that anxiety can be good and used for creativeness. And I'm like, you never even met John Candy. Keep this in mind. He never met John Candy. And he talks about how he wakes up in the middle of the night thinking that if he said something that it might have hurt someone. Like, what? He's talking about John Candy like they were lifelong friends. And this whole press tour, he's been talking about how he can relate to Candy's pain, to his heart, and him being a people pleaser. He talks about that in every single interview, that, it's so hard for Ryan too, because he's such a people pleaser, just like John Candy was a people pleaser. I feel like this whole press tour now, and the name of this movie, I Like Me, is probably Ryan Reynolds trying to convince everyone that he still likes himself, even though no one else does. Yeah, I feel this whole documentary now is more like an image rehabilitation or distraction for Ryan Reynolds to make us forget about everything else that's going on.
Canadians tend to, when faced with injustice or broken integrity, tend to really react strongly.
Yeah, there's a strong moral center.
John did that.
Yeah.
He really held, he put a bookmark in his mind for someone that hurt him and often never spoke to them again.
Anyways, let's talk about Kristen Bell, who refuses to apologize for the post that she put out last week. She was celebrating her birth. She was saying happy birthday to her husband, and some people found it offensive because it was DV month and the post said this, and some people didn't like that, and then she got a lot of backlash from it, and I think she canceled some interviews and appearance on the Today Show. She didn't show up. And now, apparently, she is refusing to say she's sorry for this. And here at page 6 is doing this story saying that Kristen Bell refusing to apologize over tone-deaf anniversary post to husband Dax Shepard. She doesn't want to be told how to live her life or be bullied into doing something she doesn't want to do, a source told the Daily Mail on Saturday. Many would have liked her to apologize or to have taken down the post, but she hasn't. And the post is still there. The source here says that Kristen believes that if people aren't going to laugh about it, then it's their problem. And she does not regret to post it either, and she would do it again. I do feel sympathy for people who have experienced things, violence like that in relationships. Of course, that's terrible. But I also think we can't be that sensitive about it. I remember Ricky Gervais talked about this. He said this so many times that, if you get offended by something that I say, that's your problem. And I do think as comedians, you should be able to almost joke about anything. And I think also humor can be used to break down barriers, to talk about things and make fun of things that is hard to talk about. I think it can open up discussions. You don't necessarily need to find it funny, but I think people should stop being so offended by things. That's my opinion. Your opinion might be very different, and I totally respect that. I feel like if we as women would be offended every time a man would say something sexist, we would not be able to do anything else but be offended all day. I like Kristen Bell and I like Dax Shepard. I never met him, but I met her a few times. She's always so open and funny and relaxed about things. And I do feel like that's so rare in Hollywood. So I applaud her. Whatever she feels is right in this situation, then I feel like, yeah, let's move on. Anyways, I just finished watching I Love LA, which is the new TV show on HBO with Leighton Meester. And I have to say, I love this show. It's going to be out on November 2nd on HBO. It's a comedy series and it's kind of like Entourage, but in modern times with more like influencers instead of actors. But it's very LA and it shows so well this whole shallowness that you see here in so many people, the narcissism, the self-obsessed personalities. It's all there and it's so clever. So I just have to say it's so rare that I actually laugh in American comedy TV shows, but this one I found really, really funny. So something to look forward to this fall, you guys. November 2nd on HBO. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode and I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. And please subscribe if you haven't and all that good stuff. Hit the notification bell and hype, like, share, become a member of Flossom, the Flossom team. You can join below this video and I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we
Bye.
Flossom talk.